like these can make it on my own.
Beats and explosive performances, Cozy Powell played with some of the greatest bands of all time, including Rainbow and Black Sabbath. Although we cannot see him anymore, Cozy Powell left an indelible mark on the world of rock and metal. Cozy Powell. If you miss him, let's dive back into the life and legacy of this legendary drummer with us, shall you? So, let's dive in. Born Colin Trevor Flukes on December 29, 1947, in the quaint English town of Cirencester, Gloucestershire, Cozy had a pretty unique start to life. He was adopted and never got to know his birth parents, but that didn't stop him from discovering his true calling: drumming. Picture this: a 12-year-old Cozy, surrounded by the sound of music, realizes he's got a knack for drumming. It all started in the school orchestra, where he first picked up the sticks. Practicing along to the popular singles of the time, Cozy quickly showed he had something special. Fast forward a bit, and Cozy joined his first band, the Chorals. This is where his drumming skills really started to shine. Imagine a youth club in Cirencester buzzing with energy as the Chorals performed, breaking world records for non-stop playing. Yeah, they were that good. By 15, Cozy wasn't just any drummer. He had already nailed an impressive drum solo that left people in awe. This was the beginning of his journey to becoming a drumming prodigy. Taking inspiration from jazz drummer Cozy Cole, he adopted the stage name Cozy, which fit him perfectly. The Chorals didn't just stick to Cirencester. They played in various venues, including a youth club in the village of Luton, captivating audiences with their performances. But Cozy was destined for more. He transitioned to the semi-professional circuit, joining the Sorcerers, a vocal harmony pop band, and continued to hone his craft. Despite their musical successes, Powell's commitment to the band clashed with his academic pursuits, prompting him to depart and seek employment in an office to fund his passion for drumming. Determined to acquire his first set of premier drums, Powell made sacrifices to finance his musical aspirations. With the Sorcerers, Powell delved into the vibrant German club scene of the 1960s, further honing his craft and expanding his musical horizons. In 1968, the Sorcerers returned to England and established themselves in the Birmingham area, where Powell forged friendships with prominent local musicians like Robert Plant, John Bonham, Noddy Holder, Dave Pegg, and Tony Iommi, renamed Youngblood. The band released a string of singles in late 1968 and 1969 before joining forces with the Moves' Ace Keffer to create the Ace Keffert Stand. Their collaboration yielded 5 recorded tracks featured on the Ace Keffert album, Ace to Face, released by Sanctuary Records in 2003. Concurrently, Powell delved into session work and co-founded Big Bertha alongside fellow Sorcerers Dave and Denny Ball. Powell's versatility led him to collaborate with swamp rocker Tony Joe White at the Isle of Wight Festival in 1970. Shortly after, he secured the esteemed drumming position in Jeff Beck's group in April 1970. Their initial project was recording an album of Motown covers in the US, although it was never completed or released. During these sessions, Powell was photographed alongside Jeff Beck during the recording of Stevie Wonder's Superstition, with Powell claiming to have played on the track in interviews, though this remains unconfirmed. Following the recording of 2 albums, Rough and Ready, October 1971, and Jeff Beck Group, July 1972, the band disbanded. In 1972, Powell contributed his drumming skills to 2 tracks, Hey Sandy and Martha, on Harvey Andrews' album, Writer of Songs. Later that year, he teamed up with the Ball Brothers and singer Frank Aiello to establish Bedlam. The band's eponymous album, Bedlam, was recorded for Chrysalis and released in August 1973. Following Powell's session work at Rack Studios and subsequent solo success, including his hit single Dance with the Devil, which peaked at number 3 on the UK singles chart in January 1974, Bedlam disbanded. Dance with the Devil stood as his only solo hit in the United States, reaching number 49 on the charts. Notably, the track featured Suzi Quatro on bass. Powell's second hit of 1974 came with The Man in Black, reaching number 18 on the UK charts. Alan Merrill, frontman of Arrows and also a Rack Records artist, contributed electric bass on both The Man in Black and its B-side After Dark. After his studio work with Jeff Beck, producer Mickey Most enlisted Powell for sessions with artists on Most's Rack label, such as Julie Felix, Hot Chocolate, Donovan, and Suzi Quatro. Capitalizing on his chart success, Powell formed Cozy Powell's Hammer in April 1974, featuring Bernie Marsden on guitar, Clive Kaman on bass, Don Airy on keyboards, and Frank Aiello from Bedlam on vocals. Neil Murray replaced Chaman on bass for the Rack Rock's Britain tour in early 1975. Their single, Nay Nay Nay, reached number 10 on the UK charts, while another single, Le Souk, was recorded but never released. Driven by a passion for the power trio cream, Cozy Powell initially formed a band with guitarist Clem Clemson and bassist Greg Ridley of Humble Pie. However, when this venture dissolved, Powell briefly stepped away from music to pursue motorcycle racing. Yet, his aspiration to lead a three-piece band persisted, leading to collaborations with artists like Tipton, Entwistle, and Cream's Jack Bruce. He also explored partnerships with Uli John Roth, Gary Moore, Clem Clemson, Pat Travers, and Pat Daw, recording and seeking a record deal unsuccessfully. In 1975, Powell became a member of Rainbow, alongside guitarist Richie Blackmore, and remained a consistent presence in the band for the next 5 years. Their 1979 album, Down to Earth, with Graham Bonnet on vocals, marked a shift towards a more commercially appealing sound, yielding hits like Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long, which climbed to numbers 6 and 5 on the UK charts respectively. Despite the album's success, Powell grew uneasy with the band's increasingly commercial direction and eventually decided to depart after headlining the inaugural Monsters of Rock show at Castle Donington, England, on August 16, 1980, marking his final performance with Rainbow. Following his departure from Rainbow, Powell briefly reunited with vocalist Graham Bonnet, resulting in the release of their notable single Night Games from Bonnet's solo album, Line Up. The track achieved significant success, reaching number 6 on the UK singles chart, showcasing Powell's enduring talent and versatility beyond his Rainbow days. During the early 1980s, Cozy Powell became a sought-after drummer, taking on short-term roles with several major bands, including the Michael Schenker Group. But it was late in 1982 when his career took a significant turn as he joined Whitesnake. Initially brought in to replace Ian Pace for what was expected to be a farewell tour in Europe, Powell's journey with the band extended much longer, thanks to the success of their album Saints and Sinners. This album climbed the charts in Britain and Japan, solidifying Powell's place in the lineup. Whitesnake's tour, highlighted by a standout performance at the Monsters of Rock Festival in August 1983, was a major triumph. Their success caught the attention of Geffen Records in America, leading to a lucrative new deal. However, the band still had one more album to deliver to their previous label, Liberty Records. This resulted in the release of Slide It In 1984. Under the keen eye of AR executive John Kolodner, Slide It In underwent significant remixing by producer Keith Olsen to better suit the American market. By this time, Powell, guitarist Mel Galley, and keyboardist John Lord were the only members from the previous lineup, alongside the ever-present lead singer David Coverdale. Powell's drumming on this album was crucial in defining the band's heavier, more polished sound, which resonated well with the American audience. Powell's tenure with Whitesnake came to an end in January 1985. His departure was followed by an intriguing offer to join Keith Emerson and Greg Lake in a revamped version of their band, L.P. Emerson, Lake Palmer, now briefly called Emerson, Lake Powell. After his departure from Whitesnake in 1985, Cozy Powell continued to leave his mark on the rock and metal scene with a series of high-profile collaborations and projects. Later that same year, he began recording with the band Phenomena for their self-titled debut album, showcasing his adaptability and relentless drive. Not one to rest on his laurels, Powell also joined another supergroup, Forcefield, featuring Graham Bonnet and later Tony Martin on vocals, Ray Fennick and Jan Ackerman on guitars, and Neil Murray, followed by Lawrence Cottle on bass. In 1988, Powell teamed up with guitar virtuoso Gary Moore, adding his signature drumming style to Moore's powerful guitar work. That same year marked the beginning of his collaboration with Black Sabbath, a band he played with on and off until 1995. His tenure with Black Sabbath was split into two periods from 1988 to 1991, and again from 1994 to 1995, during which time he helped shape the band's evolving sound. Cozy Powell made headlines in 1991 with a memorable appearance on the BBC children's program Record Breakers. Here, he set a world record by playing 400 drums in under 1 minute, live on television. This feat showcased not only his incredible skill but also his flair for the dramatic, endearing him to a wider audience. Between late 1992 and early 1993, Powell assembled a touring band called Cozy Powell's Hammer. This lineup included Neil Murray on bass, Mario Parga on guitar, and Tony Martin on vocals and occasional rhythm guitar and synth module. The band toured across Europe and made notable appearances on German television, further cementing Powell's reputation as a live performance powerhouse. Powell and Neil Murray later joined forces with Queen's Brian May, contributing to his solo albums Back to the Light and Another World. Their collaboration extended to touring, including opening for Guns N' Roses during the second American leg of their Use Your Illusion tour in 1993. This period saw Powell blending his drumming expertise with May's iconic guitar work, creating a powerful and memorable sound. In the mid-1990s, Powell and Murray also collaborated with blues guitarist Peter Green. This partnership highlighted Powell's versatility, as he seamlessly transitioned from rock and metal to blues, demonstrating his broad musical range and adaptability. Cozy Powell's illustrious career saw him collaborate with numerous legendary musicians, but his final years were particularly notable for a few key projects. In 1997, Powell teamed up with guitar virtuoso Yngwie Malmsteen for the album Facing the Animal. This collaboration showcased Powell's drumming prowess and solidified his place in the rock and metal scene. One of Powell's last recording sessions was for Colin Blunstone's album The Light Inside, where he worked alongside keyboardist Don Airey. Released shortly after Powell's untimely death, this album stands as a poignant reminder of his enduring talent. Powell's final solo effort, Especially for You, was released posthumously in 1998. This album featured American vocalist John West and contributions from musicians like Neil Murray, Lonnie Park, and Michael Caswell. It was a testament to Powell's ability to bring together top-tier talent and create something truly special. On the personal front, Cozy Powell married Madeline Powell on April 24, 1973. Throughout his life, he had significant relationships with Janine Andrews and Dee Dee Keel. At the time of his passing, he was romantically involved with Sharon Reeve. Sadly, Powell's life was cut short on April 5, 1998, when he died in a car accident while driving his Saab 9000 at 104 mph in poor weather on the M4 motorway near Bristol. The circumstances surrounding Powell's death were heartbreaking. Sharon Reeve, who was experiencing marital difficulties, urgently called Powell, asking him to come to her house, which was about 35 miles away. During the drive, Reeve called again to check his whereabouts. Powell assured her he was on his way, but then she heard him exclaim, "Oh shit," followed by a loud bang. The crash that followed took his life, leaving a void in the music world. The inquest into his fatal car crash uncovered some disturbing details. One of the rear tires blew out, causing Cozy to lose control of his car. Witnesses described the terrifying scene as the car hit a curb, rolled over, and landed on its roof, almost like it was cartwheeling. Cozy was on his mobile phone, chatting with his girlfriend when the accident happened. The official investigation revealed another critical factor: a slow puncture in one of the rear tires. This puncture likely led to the tire's sudden collapse, which caused the vehicle to swerve out of control. Tragically, Cozy wasn't wearing a seatbelt. When the car flipped, he was thrown through the windscreen. To make matters worse, his blood alcohol level was found to be over the legal limit at the time of the crash. Despite efforts to save him, Cozy was pronounced dead at a local hospital in Bristol. He was just 50 years old. The coroner ruled his death as a tragic accident. At the time of his death, Cozy was living in Lambourne, Berkshire. He had recently returned to the studio to record with Peter Green, the founder of Fleetwood Mac. Cozy had also pulled out of tour rehearsals with guitar virtuoso Yngwie Malmsteen due to an injury he sustained in a motorcycle accident. In January 2016, Cozy Powell's legacy was commemorated with a special tribute at the Corn Hall in Cirencester. A memorial plaque was unveiled to honor the drumming legend, and the event was led by none other than Brian May of Queen. It was a gathering of musical greats, with notable figures like Suzi Quatro, Bernie Marsden, Neil Murray, Don Airey, and Tony Iommi in attendance. The ceremony was a fitting tribute to a man whose beats had echoed across stages and studios worldwide. Friends, fans, and fellow musicians gathered to remember Cozy, not just for his incredible talent, but for his passion and spirit that resonated in every performance. Though Cozy Powell's untimely passing left a significant void in the music industry, his influence remains powerful. He played on at least 66 albums and contributed to countless other recordings, cementing his place as one of the greatest drummers of all time. His work continues to inspire and shape the dreams of aspiring musicians everywhere. If you enjoyed this look into the life of a true drumming legend, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon for more stories about your favorite musicians. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Keep rocking.